To the ancient Maya, sunrise wasn't a promise, it was a victory torn from the dark every single morning, at a terrifying price. Where we see a brutal ritual, they saw the maintenance of the universe. Cosmic maintenance, a blood debt that held the sun in the sky and the stars in their places. Imagine holding the fuel of reality in your hands, that a single heartbeat is all that stops the sky from collapsing. In the shadow of the pyramids, the flash of an obsidian blade didn't just mean death, it meant survival, the survival of the entire world. Today, we step inside the temples to uncover how the human heart became the ultimate currency of the cosmos, and why, without it, everything would end. To understand why, you have to forget everything you think about violence. To the Maya, the universe wasn't a dead machine running forever. It was alive. And like any living thing, it could grow tired. It could die. In their eyes, the world had already been created and destroyed many times, and the world we live in now was only the gods' most recent attempt. Fragile, temporary, always on the edge. The legends said the gods themselves had bled to ignite the sun. They spilled their own blood and mixed it with kernels of corn to shape the first humans. And so a debt was born, a debt of blood. Humans lived on credit. They had been given life, light, rain, harvests, and the interest had to be paid. In the same currency the loan was made, a life for a life. Inside every living being, the Maya believed, a sacred force pulsed. They called it Chulel, the essence that gives life, hidden in the blood and in the breath. It was the energy that set everything in motion, the clouds, the tides, the march of the stars. And it burned away. Slowly but surely, the universe consumed this fuel. Someone had to refill it. This is where the priest comes in. Not a bloodthirsty executioner, the way we picture him, but an engineer of the cosmos, a technician of the end of the world, the only one who knew exactly how much blood, when, and for whom, so the fourth world wouldn't go dark. And no god was hungrier than the sun. The Maya called him K'inich Ajaw, the sun-faced lord. By day, he crossed the sky in a chariot of fire, but at dusk, he died. For them, the sun didn't simply set, it descended. It sank beneath the earth into Xibalba, the place of fright, the world below. And down there, it transformed. From a radiant lord, it became a jaguar, the sun jaguar who had to cross the night through the demons of death. Every night the sun fought a battle. It battled the lords of darkness so it could be reborn at dawn. And to have the strength to fight, it needed food. Blood, that concentrated chulel, torn from a human chest. The beat of a heart wasn't just a sign of life. It was movement, rhythm. The very pulse that, they believed, pushed the sun across the sky and turned the stars. A living heart was a tiny mirror of the cosmos, an engine beating in time with the universe. That's why sunrise was everything. Every morning the sun rose above the pyramid was a victory, proof the ritual had worked, that the god had defeated death. Once again. But what if the ritual failed? Then the sun could stay trapped below in Xibalba, devoured, and the world would be left in eternal darkness. No light, no harvests, no tomorrow. Eclipses were the most terrifying warnings of all. A broken sun, eaten in the sky at midday. In those moments of panic, even kings pierced their own flesh to spill their blood and give strength to the dying star. But why the heart? Why not something else? The Maya had an anatomy of the soul. They believed the life force wasn't spread evenly through the body. It gathered, it concentrated, and the purest reserves were found in two places, in the breath, which they called Ik, the wind of life, and in the warm blood of a still beating heart. The heart was the vault. That's where the purest energy was stored, and to release it at exactly the right moment, it had to be taken while it still pulsed, alive. An obsidian blade, honed finer than any steel, opened the chest, and the organ was raised toward the sun, still trembling, like a burning offering. But not all blood was worth the same. For the Maya, the quality of the fuel mattered enormously. The blood of a king, of a brave warrior, of a high-ranking captive was more precious than anything. The higher the status, the greater the courage, the purer the being, the more powerful the energy released. That's why the most important victims were often nobles captured in war, not common slaves. It was a kind of reverse alchemy. The priest didn't turn lead into gold. He turned flesh into cosmos. He took something mortal, a body, a heart, a life, and transmuted it into the very material that held the stars in the sky. Blood became currency, the only currency the gods would accept, and every drop spilled bought something incredibly precious and incredibly fleeting. One more day, one more sunrise, a little more time for a world that would otherwise collapse. None of this was left to chance. Look at a Maya pyramid. It's not just a tomb and not just a temple. It's a machine, an instrument built with a precision that still astonishes us today. Height mattered. The higher the altar, the closer the battery, the offered body, was to the sky, to the gods who had to be fed. The steep stairs climbed toward the summit like a bridge between worlds. The blood then ran back down, step by step, closing the circuit between Earth and cosmos. Orientation mattered even more. Many temples were aligned exactly with the path of the sun. At the equinoxes and solstices, the light fell perfectly, drawing shadows that seemed alive. At Chichen Itza, on certain days, the sun itself descended the steps in the shape of a serpent of light. Architecture became a calendar, a stone that told the exact hour of the universe. And the tools, an obsidian blade, wasn't a weapon of war. It was a surgical instrument. Volcanic glass, sharper than a modern scalpel, forged for a single operation, the survival of the species. And above all, timing. The rituals weren't performed just any time. They were synchronized with the movement of the planets, the phases of Venus, the eclipses, the great cycles of the calendar. The priests were astronomers too. They read the sky like a giant clock, and they knew that if the human gear didn't turn in time with the gears of the stars, the entire mechanism could jam. Sacrifice wasn't chaos, it was engineering, the exact geometry of survival. Keeping the universe alive came at a price, and not only for the victims. Imagine the weight of believing this, that if you stop, the sun dies, that the survival of everyone, your children, the harvests, the world, hangs on the ritual continuing. For an entire society, that's an almost unimaginable pressure. The harder the times, drought, famine, war, the hungrier the gods seemed, and the greater the need for blood. And here lies a tragic paradox. Toward the end of the classic period, the great Maya cities began to collapse. Not overnight, but gradually. The causes were many. Terrible droughts that lasted for decades, ever more frequent wars between city-states, forests cut down, soils exhausted, kings losing their authority. And in the middle of this collapse, the belief system was caught in a trap. When prayers and blood no longer brought the rain, when the gods seemed to fall silent, faith crumbled. More sacrifice could not stop the fall of a world that was crumbling for very earthly reasons. The great cities were abandoned, swallowed by the jungle. But the Maya did not vanish. Millions of their descendants are alive today, speaking their languages, keeping a part of that ancient wisdom, and what remains is a staggering vision, a world in which the human being was not a mere spectator. They were the guardian of reality, the one who, with every beat of the heart, held the sky pinned to the stars. To the Maya, existence wasn't free. It was a flame, and someone always had to keep it burning. Maybe today we see a ritual of horror, but beyond the blood was a question we still avoid. How much are we willing to pay to keep our world going? The Maya had an answer, a clear and terrifying one. If you enjoyed this journey into the mind of a civilization that carried the sky on its shoulders, leave a like and subscribe. We have many more lost worlds to bring back to life. The thrones burned, but the stories survived.